And showtime, ladies and gentlemen, because there is still no professional sports, you are watching the Channel Pro 5-Minute Roundup, a look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the Channel Pro Network. I am also one of your hosts on this program. I am joined this week, as every week, by my co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
Holding steady, Rich. Holding steady.
And you know what? Holding steady these days, that's like excellent. That's as good as it gets.
That's right. It's the top of the bar.
Well done then. Well, let's just plunge into our story of the week here. And, you know, on the face of it, this might not seem like a natural story of the week for us to be diving into. I'm talking about some new hardware that came out from Dell this week. They announced a whole bunch of new consumer PC products, gaming products, regular productivity products aimed at consumers. In particular, they added two new laptops to their XPS line. So if you're familiar with the XPS 13, which is sort of the original model in that line, very lightweight, compact unit. It has an almost bezel-free display that actually has size implications for the entire device. It's a 13-inch device that kind of feels like an 11-inch device because of that bezel issue. So they have updated the XPS 15, and they've introduced an XPS 17. And I've spoken recently with some people who are kind of excited about that because it's a 17-inch laptop, weighs about 5 pounds, but because of that, no bezel display, it's actually smaller than a lot of 15-inch models. And so that's probably something people are going to want to investigate. But, you know, when I got the press release announcing that these products and these high-end gaming machines, some of which cost $3,000, are coming out now, my thought was, you know, is this really a great time to be introducing premium hardware? We're in a recession, you know, people are being careful with cash. It's just a great time to be selling consumer hardware. Well, it turns out the same week Dell made that announcement, I got a bunch of data that suggests, you know what, this actually might be a good time to be introducing that kind of product. So NPD Group, they are a big analyst organization. They're especially strong in terms of tracking retail sales. They have a consumer electronics tracker that they update every week. And they issued some data this week for the week ending May 2nd. And consumer electronics revenue overall was up 20% for that same week, year over year. Consumer electronics spending up 20%. TV, tablet, and PC sales in particular up 33% year over year. And, you know, they don't break out PCs versus TVs, and so you kind of wonder how that works. But they did, for some reason or other, provide a number for PC monitors specifically. Same week, year over year, 72% sales spike in monitor sales. And I could go into, you know, we were talking off the air, you're in the process of building a computer, Eric. The numbers on what NPD calls do-it-yourself hardware are unbelievable. For that same week, year over year, motherboards up 147%, graphics cards 152%. So, I mean, you know, basically there are a lot of people who are at home now looking for work or a hardware that's going to enable them to work from home, or just hardware that's going to do a better job of keeping them entertained. And by golly, there is a lot of hardware selling out there, and I'm sure the premium products are doing quite well.
Yeah, but gotta say, you know, timing, I bet they're kicking themselves going, boy, if we had just, you know, released these new products 30 days earlier, we probably could have, you know, sold a ton of them. Because, yeah, I'm not surprised, Rich. I mean, you know, and we talked on a previous show, you know, one of my tips of the week was, you know, create these bundles of products that your clients could consume and just say, yes, set me up for the basic worker, set me up for the power user, and ship me all that stuff. And we even went off on tangents like, well, you know, sell them ergonomic chairs, sell them, you know, standing desks, hey, if they need masks and gloves, sell them what they need, right? Just be there for them. And yes, I shared with you, you know, before this episode, I'm upgrading all of my home equipment because, hey, it's time. And, you know, we're doing more things with our home offices than we had been previously. So it makes perfect sense. But holy cow, some of those stats are off the charts. I mean, you know, when you look at it and you say, and we made a joke, I think maybe last show, you know, well, what made you decide finally to, you know, start supporting remote workers, did you have a new strategy shift? Yeah, it was called COVID-19. So, what drove, this shift in hardware and especially the DIY stuff? That's very interesting. Well, I think it's COVID-19. So while some sectors are suffering, other sectors, may be thriving.
And the one quick thing I'll say about the do-it-yourself hardware category there is I believe those are revenue numbers that they're tracking there. And so if there are supply chain issues and prices are going up, this is not the kind of thing I would know about. I've been wanting actually to reach out to some system builders and see if this aligns with what they're seeing. But there could be some supply chain issues that have caused the numbers to spike that much. But clearly there's a lot of product shipping as well. Well, and you know what? We are in perhaps a transitional period here in the COVID-19 story where, people have been locked down at home, working exclusively from home, but this is maybe beginning to shift, and that has something to do with your tip of the week, Eric.
Yes. I mean, I think the mob may win in some states and accelerate this. Get back to work, reopen the economy, and things like that. So my tip of the week is simply, is it time for you to start building your strategy to help your clients get back to the office? Maybe, maybe not. How do you find out? Let's survey our clients, put together a survey and ask them, hey, and give them the easy way to choose it. Are you planning on going back to the office within, the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? What are we doing? And put together some thoughts around how will you adjust your, back to the office work strategy, asking the clients this, are you going to maintain social distancing? Are you going to provide masks and gloves for your clients, for your users, and, adjust your response accordingly. But, especially from the perspective of getting them to tell you what they need and what they will be doing. Because I will bet, and always ask them this question too, will you be considering leaving a percentage of your users in a remote work status? And try to get them to tell you what that is. Is that, 10%, 20%, 30%? I'll bet you, Rich, there's a lot of business owners that'll probably be like, well, yeah, we've spent money and set these guys up at home. Maybe we can run a little while, even though we do have a lot of our critical folks coming back to the office. So I think we'll see a paradigm shift. And some of the experts that I'm listening to are saying that, yeah, business will never be the same. We'll never get 100% of those workers that were working in the office back in the office after this.
Yeah. So a lot of thoughts about this, but I'll just start right there, because Gartner had some really interesting data that came out within the last month or so specifically about that. They went out and they surveyed a bunch of CFOs. So, I mean, a lot of larger businesses, not necessarily SMBs we're talking about, but 74% of the CFOs in this survey said that at least 5% of their employee base will be working from home permanently. And then I'm sure as, you kind of get into the numbers, like how long is it going to be before everybody is back, or the people who are going back to the office are back at the office? I'm sure there's quite a bit of delay there. And also, I will cite some more data for you, because this came out earlier this week from Citrix. They went out and surveyed 2,000 workers in the US about when they would feel comfortable going back to the office. 64% of them said they're not going to feel comfortable, in the next month. It's going to be at least a month before they're comfortable going. But I think we're going to see an enormous amount of variation in that kind of thinking. And obviously some of it will be geographic, and different parts of the country are going to relax the rules and at a different pace and in a different way. But I think even when the rules everywhere have been relaxed, on an individual basis and an individual company basis, there's going to be a lot of difference, a lot of variation in terms of what people are comfortable with. And it's going to be a process over time, before everybody starts feeling like they can come out of the cave and go back to the office. And I think it makes a ton of sense, in fact, to be talking to your customers early about that and keeping in touch with them and taking the pulse in terms of what they're feeling, where they're at, because you don't want to re-experience, what you went through in March, getting everybody working from home in a rush. You want to kind of get out in front of this return to the office wave that is ahead of us now. And there's really no one rule, no one pattern for, how quickly that's going to happen. And so, yeah, start talking to the customers now and keep talking to them about it and see what they want.
Yeah, I mean, we could devote a series of shows just around this topic, and it's interesting that Cisco's number 64%, pretty much align with recent polling that I've seen that say, in general, workers are 67% are saying they're not comfortable going back to work yet. So that's very interesting. And then you've got, some of the largest organizations on the social media side. I mean, Twitter basically said workers can work from home forever is what I heard, and other Facebook and LinkedIn are saying things like, hey, our workers will be working from home at least through the end of the year. So again, I think I'm getting some of that right. So that's really kind of impacting decision making for business owners. Well, if these folks are saying they could work for that long, maybe there isn't this huge rush. And I've seen other reporting that says, you said 5% will remain permanently working from home. I've seen numbers as high as 20%. I saw one analyst say, maybe 40% of the people that are 40% of the work from home people now will remain working from home. So it's all over the place now. But, there is no magic bullet. So again, the tip of the week is simply survey your clients and figure out what they're thinking, and just be prepared to deliver different strategies for different ones.
All right. Well, that leaves us with time for just one more story here. And these days, Eric, it's important to count your blessings. You're looking for the little things that you're grateful for. And here's a little something I'm grateful for now. Actually, I should tell you, we didn't even talk about this, but I've switched up what we're going to be talking about here, because this is something that you sent me yesterday that I think is irresistible. I'm grateful that, yes, I'm here and under stay-at-home orders and spending a lot of time at home, but I'm doing it alone. I'm not doing it with a ghost. Because it turns out that there are people out there who are pretty sure their home is haunted, and not like it's been haunted before, but now that they're having to spend a bunch of time there, all of a sudden it turns out, there might be a ghost in the home with me here. And this is from an article in the New York Times. It talks about a guy named Adrian Gomez, I believe, 26 years old, an IT support guy, considers himself, kind of a rational thinker. And he got woken up in the middle of the night once because he heard a doorknob rattling really, really hard at the other end of his apartment, and there was absolutely nobody there. They have the Times has heard about experiences involving people, disembodied voices, shadowy figures, misbehaving electronics, invisible cats cozying up on couches, caresses from hands that aren't even there, etc. I don't know, Eric. Are there a lot of ghosts out there, or a lot of people who are maybe going a little stir crazy?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably more of the latter, but it certainly makes interesting reading. I mean, this is the news that we are, that we're reporting now, because, everybody is locked up at home. So I can understand more of that focus of those, human and ghost interest stories.
It is very strange, actually, what kind of news makes news these days. I can't remember if we talked about it on this show, but I mean, some weeks back, there was a truck fire. Yeah, we did talk about it. There was a truck fire that, eliminated a whole truckload of toilet paper, and this made national news. Strange things are in the headlines these days, folks. That is all the time we have for you this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like the show, you want to maybe take a look at some episodes in the past that you missed, keep up with the future episodes as they become available, what you want to do is go to the Channel Pro Network channel on YouTube, subscribe to that. Make sure you click the little bell icon if you want to get notifications when the new episodes come out. To read more about the new hardware from Dell, to get all sorts of great business growth advice for your company, please go to channelpronetwork.com. Every day we have got great new content for you there every day. To learn more about Eric and the work that he does with his clients, you need to go to ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Once again, thank you very much, folks, for joining us. We will be back again next week with another episode of the 5-Minute Roundup. Until then, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.